Thank you for joining Waking Up with D. Today, I'm going to do a kind of reaction or response, give you a summary of what's been going on with The Talk. It's the daytime TV show. And I'm going to give you the summary of what's been going on, and I'm going to give you my opinion on it. So please stay tuned till the very end because I'm going to give you like my takeaways from it and just my feedback. But throughout the video, you will hear my feedback, but make sure you stay tuned to the very, very end. Also, I do want to let you know I have extended the giveaway. So please make sure if you have not entered the giveaway that you do. All the instructions are down below in the description box. And you will see the deadline there as well. I've kind of expanded it to make it easier for everyone to enter. If you're a subscriber, you can definitely enter. And all you need to do is comment down below and type the word entry or something to that effect. And I'll know that you're entered. Or you can send me an email with your YouTube name. You can also send me a message on Instagram with your YouTube name. My email and Instagram are listed in the description box below. But please feel free to share this video. Let your loved ones know if they subscribe, they can enter the giveaway. Okay, come on, come on, come on. I just want someone to feel pampered. And again, I'm doing the giveaway because I want to celebrate our 100 subscriber milestone that we reached, and now we're up to 110. So thank you very much. And yes, I can't wait to see more entries coming on in. Thank you guys. I took some notes, and so you will see me looking down to refer to them throughout this video. I just wanted to make sure that, because there's a lot of moving parts to the story, so I wanted to make sure that I hit on the main points. First, I want to start with by saying that Duke Harry and Duchess Meghan Markle of England, the royal family, they were interviewed by Oprah, and that aired on March 7th. So it was like, huge international interview. If you haven't heard about that taking place, I'm glad I'm talking about it now so that you can get, filled in on it. But in that interview, Meghan Markle revealed to Oprah that when she was pregnant with her son, Harry was told by someone in the family that there was concern over the color of what her baby's skin may be. And so, obviously that's colorism and that's racism. There are a lot of folks that are big fans of the royal family, and some people were just not pleased to hear everything that Meghan Markle and Harry shared. There were other people that were thankful that they shared what they did because they did open up about some things. I think it's worth a watch to watch their interview, because we're gonna keep hearing about the royal family, and we're gonna keep hearing about Meghan Markle and Harry. So I just feel like it's kind of interesting to be filled in on what they did talk about with Oprah. But anyways, so one of the really controversial things was the fact that there's racism and colorism within the royal family. And obviously, like, that would be horrible to be the mother of your unborn child and and hear things like that. So you might have heard of the man named Piers Morgan. He has done TV work in America. He was a judge on the X Factor. He was on Celebrity Apprentice, and he was also when Larry King was fired from CNN. Piers Morgan had his own show. So he's a British man. He's arrogant, in my opinion, and he's very rude. He lacks tact, and he's not all that likable, So he was on a show called Good Morning Britain, and he was sharing his opinion about the interview with Harry and Meghan Markle, and he was very aggressive. He was very rude, he didn't want to listen to anyone else on the panel, and then when there were guests that were brought on, he continued to interrupt them and wasn't really very gracious about hearing them out. um yeah, he was speaking over the guests, and it was just so off-putting, you guys. A man on Good Morning Britain, maybe the next day, after he had like just gone off about Meghan Markle and Harry, like just saying you can't trust them, saying he just clearly has some issue with them. And I don't know, just the way he communicates is very off-putting. Okay, there was a black man who was on Good Morning Britain, and I believe he was just a guest, but he was like sharing his experience with colorism, and in a very similar situation to Meghan Markle and Harry. And Piers Morgan was saying he didn't know what the context was about like the colorism conversation. So whoever told Harry, we're concerned about the color your baby will be born, the coloring of your baby's skin, Piers Morgan was saying, well, I don't understand the context, because maybe they were just curious. Piers Morgan was saying, we don't know what the context was. We don't know if they were actually being racist, or if there was concern about it, or if they were just curious, just like anyone might be curious about something like that. So, again, he was saying, I don't trust anything that comes out of, he's like, I don't trust what they have to say, Harry and Meghan. And some people were perceiving Piers Morgan to be racist because of how like vehemently he was particularly against Meghan Markle. He ended up walking off the set after he had the conversation with the black man that was on the a guest on the panel, and he walked off the set and then he quit. We don't know if he got fired or if he actually quit, but that's what happened. Then on March 9th, Sharon Osbourne tweeted, she's also from England, and she tagged Piers Morgan in this. They were friends. They were on the Celebrity Apprentice together. I think they were X Factor judges together, or America's Got Talent judges. But whatever the case, they've been judges together, and they've been on Celebrity Apprentice. They have that connection. They're also English. So Sharon Osbourne tweeted, I am with you. I stand by you. People forget that you're paid for your opinion and that you're speaking your truth. And so that was on March 9th. When Sharon Osbourne came in on March 10th to the show she's on, The Talk, where there's a panel of ladies, she said the producer quickly asked her, do you feel okay like about us asking about your Piers Morgan comment? And Sharon said, yes, that's fine. But during the actual show itself, Sharon felt like she was under attack now because she was standing by her friend Piers Morgan. During the conversation they were having on The Talk, both Sheryl Underwood and Elaine, the two black women on the panel of The Talk, asked Sharon Osbourne questions about the situation, and Sharon Osbourne was very aggressive and angry, and she was just relentless, because she would say things like, educate me, tell me what he did that was racist. And there was one point when Sheryl Underwood was like a little teary-eyed, and Sharon Osbourne said this, don't try and cry, because if anyone should be crying, it should be me. And that did not sit well with me at all. Like, I already know that Sheryl Underwood and Sharon Osbourne are friends. That did not sit well with me, because you're trying to take ownership of a black woman's emotions. You're trying to... That really did not sit well with me. You can't tell someone how to feel. And the fact that they're discussing race and the fact that Sheryl is a black woman and now you're trying to have ownership of her feelings and saying that you should be the one crying if anyone's crying. I don't know. That might be a white fragility moment. I don't know, but it might be. So after that whole segment on the talk, it was all in the news and everything. And then on and then Sharon Osbourne did an interview with Entertainment Tonight when she was sharing her experience, and she wanted to like share her side of the story. She said that there had been a situation with one of the hosts, Carrie Ananaba, where the producers gave her question to ask Elaine, and the question was, if black people can use the N-word, why can't white people? And the segment did not turn out well when that happened. Elaine was not happy with that question, and Carrie Ananaba started crying because she knew it was not a good question to ask. I mean, honestly, that's such a played out question and it's ridiculous to begin with. So, Sharon was saying in that Entertainment Tonight interview that the co hosts, they had all made a pact saying if we're ever given questions that we feel would like bamboozle another co host, we're not going to ask the questions. Because if we feel that the other co-host is not prepared or prepped for that topic, we're not going to do that to the co-host, our fellow co-host. And during the Entertainment Tonight interview, she was saying like she felt set up because the producers had Sheryl and Elaine ask her questions. She did say that she thinks she got too personal with Sheryl and she never should have dismissed her feelings. And she said that she apologized to Sheryl, but Sheryl hasn't reached back out to her. So to me, it sounded like maybe she had like text messaged her or something like that. So Sharon's very upset with CBS because she was told by the producers that an executive asked the producers to ask the questions that were asked to Sharon. Sharon thinks that since the talk is on CBS and the interview with Harry and Meghan was on CBS, and because Sharon sided with Piers Morgan, she thinks that's why the CBS executives handled the situation like they did. Who knows what truth there is to that. Meanwhile, one of the original co-hosts of the talk, Holly Robinson Peete, spoke out on Twitter as well. And that was on March 12th. She tweeted, "I'm old enough to remember when Sharon complained that I was too ghetto for the talk. Then I was gone. I bring this up now because I was mortified watching the disrespectful, condescending tone she took with her co-host, who remained calm and respectful because she had to." And it's true. Sheryl Underwood was so incredibly calm. She was so incredibly patient with Sharon. She handled the situation very well and was trying to explain everything to Sharon Osbourne. On the talk, one of the questions they had asked was, by you standing with your friend Piers Morgan, are you concerned that it shows that you're supporting someone who's racist and sexist? It was something to that effect. So after the talk aired, where her and Sheryl in particular had that interaction, for Holly Robinson Peete to come out with telling her experience with Sharon Osbourne, that added, of course, a layer to the story about how Sharon treats people behind the scenes, So this happened, and there's been a hiatus all this week. There's going to be a hiatus on Monday, and then the talk is supposed to resume this upcoming Tuesday. So what they're saying is that CBS is doing an investigation to review these issues, but it doesn't really get into what the issues are. And then Sharon said in the Entertainment Tonight interview that she wanted an investigation and wants to know what executive told the producers to ask the questions and why was she left out to dry that day. So that's the confusing part, is like there's an alleged investigation or review going on, but what's the review on? Is it on Sharon's behavior and her disrespect towards Sheryl Underwood? Is it also on the claims that people have since come out with, like Holly Robinson Pete and now other people as well that I'll get into? Is it on those claims that Sharon Osbourne has made racist remarks on the job? Or is the investigation based on Sharon wanting the investigation? So that's a very confusing part. So there's like, it's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing. But not only did Holly Robinson Pete come out with her experience with Sharon, but Leah Remini was also an original co-host. And she said that Sharon Osbourne would refer to Julie Chen, another co-host, in racially derogatory terms. I'm not going to say what they are because I don't want to go there, but they were racially derogatory terms. And someone else had mentioned that Sharon Osbourne had used like homophobic terms about Sarah Gilbert, who was another co-host on The Talk. So here you have multiple people sharing their experiences with Sharon Osbourne. I don't condone racism. It's not appropriate to be racist, period. When you're in a professional setting, if you're using racially derogatory terms, that is unacceptable. That makes people feel very uncomfortable. It doesn't make people feel safe. And so, honestly, it's good that this is coming about so that Sharon Osbourne's behavior can really be examined for how she behaves behind the scenes. Because just in real life, not in entertainment, but in real life, you know, there's people who can put on a good face, right? But sometimes behind the scenes, they're racist, you know, they might use racist language, you know? Like, I feel that some people do turn a switch on and off with their language, you know? And so I think that this could very well be an instance where Sharon was the fool that told on herself, basically. She told on herself with her own poor behavior. And so I really do think that the investigation should involve the overall, like, culture behind the scenes of The Talk, and specifically Sharon Osbourne's demeanor to her coworkers and anything she has said that's racially inappropriate in the workplace, you know? This is a situation with how you treat people can come back to haunt you. And I've had mixed feelings about Sharon Osbourne. There's sometimes I really like Sharon Osbourne, but sometimes I don't, because she's had this sometimes she has this air of like arrogance, you know, about her. But there's other times I really like her. So I wouldn't be surprised if she did say these racially derogatory things or homophobic things about her fellow co-hosts. I just really would not be surprised. She dug this hole on her own. You guys, she didn't have to tweet about anything about Piers Morgan. She's the one that dug her own grave, really, you guys. So now that she dug her own grave and told on herself, in my opinion, CBS needs to go on with this investigation, and hopefully the investigation is what I mentioned. Hopefully it's regarding Sharon's behavior, and not just the racial behavior, but the disrespect, because she was just straight up like she was straight up disrespectful to Sheryl, and in a way, the way she was speaking was like a bully behavior, unacceptable in the workplace, you know? I mean, unacceptable anywhere, but like in the workplace, it's a professional setting. So, like, get it together, Sharon. And if I were Sheryl, even though they are friends, I would have a very challenging time with ever wanting to be Sharon's friend again because of how disrespectful she was. And, forgiveness, I could see forgiveness happening, but to want to accept that person back into your life as a friend, I personally don't think I could trust Sharon. Um, I just really don't. So, Sharon said that her reason for speaking up for Piers Morgan was because he has freedom of expression, freedom of speech. But what some people don't realize is just because your country has freedom of speech or expression, it doesn't mean there aren't consequences to that speech. So Piers Morgan is a very entitled man, very arrogant, rude, disrespectful. So of course he is accustomed to getting his way. It's just very interesting because Sharon Osbourne stuck her neck on the line just with a tweet when Piers' perspective was really harsh about Meghan, and as a result, Sharon might be fired. I don't know. Who knows? I really don't know what's going to happen. It's hard to say. And the reason I think it's hard to say is because Sharon Osbourne has known how to keep a job. She's an original co-host of The Talk. She's been on judging panels for years and years at a time, on those talent shows. And so she knows how to keep a job. She's probably well connected behind the scenes. Look, I don't know. But I just don't want to theorize what's going to happen, if she's going to get fired or not. Because who knows? They might want the co-host to like have a segment on the show where they all have like a very structured conversation about what happened. I do think that Sharon Osbourne, it's time for her to go. It's time for her to go. It's unacceptable the way she spoke to Sheryl. And if she has been saying those racist things and homophobic things to or about her coworkers, inexcusable, she's got to go. So we'll see. And, whose perspective I would love to hear is Marie Osmond. Because Marie Osmond was only on the show for 1 or 2 seasons on The Talk. And in my opinion, Marie Osmond is like a consummate professional. She had her own talk show like around 2 decades ago, and she's been in show business her whole life. And I would love to hear Marie Osmond's perspective on Sharon Osbourne and what she heard and saw behind the scenes. I think that might be interesting. Ultimately, at the end of the day, whether Piers got fired or he quit, he's a very wealthy man. Very wealthy. He didn't need the job anyway, right? Sharon Osbourne, also very wealthy, does not need the job. Is it great for people to get fired? No. However, they're wealthy. They don't need the job. And what we need to refer back to is the words we use and how we talk about people regarding their race, their sexuality matters. Their gender, it matters. And so if we think that there's no consequences to that, think again. You may live in a society that has freedom of speech or expression. That does not prevent there from being consequences. And so we're going to see what happens. I don't know if you guys have been following the story, but if you have, comment down below what you think. I really like Sheryl Underwood. She's really funny, and she's a very humble person. I really like Sheryl Underwood. And the new host, Elaine, I really like her. She's very intelligent, and the way she communicates her points, she educates people on things. It's like she's very succinct and educates people. And I think she's such a great addition to The Talk. So Sharon, honestly, give her the boot. She doesn't need to be there. could I see that a network would maybe set someone up to create a narrative that they want, or to kind of stir things up? Of course. Of course. That's what producers do on certain shows, you know? And like, could I see the executives meddling in that way? Of course. Is it acceptable to do that? I mean, it is television and show business, so it's like, I don't think it's acceptable. I don't think in doing that they're behaving with integrity at all. But Sharon Osbourne has been in the business nearly her whole life because she used to manage people. And so I guess I find it hard to believe that she would be so surprised by that behavior. The network is doing shady things like they did with Carrie Ann and Naba, and like the questions they wanted Sheryl and Elaine to ask, and they asked. That's not the best environment to work in, no. But Sharon is still responsible for her behavior and her emotions and words, and she let everything get the best of her. It doesn't feel good to say, oh, they should just fire her, but like, when it comes to issues surrounding race, homophobia, like gender, those are very serious issues. And if she has a history and pattern of treating people like this, there needs to be severe consequences, and that's just how it is. It's unacceptable, and they need to make a stand and show that, like, here at CBS, here at the Talk, this is not a culture. This is not a culture that we want to breed. You know, we don't want a culture where there's derogatory racial language being used. We don't want homophobic terms being used. You know, so let me know in the comments below if you've been following this. What are your opinions and thoughts? And we'll see what happens with it. If the outcome is interesting, I might make a follow-up video. Let me know if you're interested in a follow-up video. And if you've watched this whole video, OMG, you stuck around for this whole video? It's a long one. Thank you. I appreciate you taking your time to watch this. And please comment down below the blueberry emoji, #blueberry, if you watched the whole video. If you have not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Also, comment, like, and share. Hit that notification bell so every time I upload, you are notified. And finally, there is only one you. So don't forget to take care of you. Bye, you guys.